Alright, I'm going to now demonstrate a bouquet using a bouquet holder, just like this one, which has been altered. So one of the things that's fabulous about these is that they're very versatile and you can keep adding to them. You can make these yourself as well, or you can just purchase them from suppliers. So Natalie has carefully altered this one to look just fabulous. It's got a twisting of raffia and also some twine through it. And then attached here through the wire is a dried banksia. So the inspiration from this comes from our European florists who do a fantastic job of very minimal floristry design. So they're very sustainable approaches to floristry. And so the work is really all about design rather than mass lots of flowers. So it means that you need to be quite careful about your placement of the materials, but it creates a very striking looking design. So this is the base that we're going to start working with, and one of the things I've done in preparation is used some floristry adhesive glue, so it's a cold glue, and attached it to some of the materials that I'm going to be using within this design. So I've attached it to the back of the gum leaves here, and also some of the Singapore orchids. Now the reason for attaching the glue a little bit earlier on is because once it becomes a bit tacky, that then it's easier to stick into the arrangement, and the glue is not as wet and won't run as much. So I've also got some really nice leaves, feathers here as well, and I'm going to pop them in. So I'm going to add some glue to them now and place them in at the end. So just put some glue just at one end because I'm not exactly sure yet where I want them to sit in the design. But at least one part then will be ready to attach and glue in. Okay. So I've got the frame here, and one of the first pieces of materials to go in are these gorgeous yellow tulips. So I'm going to feed them through. Whoops, I did snap it. And now if you snap one, as I did, don't worry, that's okay, because you can just use it into a shorter area of the design. Get that there. Some paper covered wire, which helps to attach things without it being too visible. So I've got the green here, and it is available in a natural colour as well. Okay. Now I'm just going to let this tulip sit just for a little bit longer. It's got a little bit of flex in it, which is great. In order to get them to flex right into the shape that you want the majority of the moisture out of the stem. Now you would think that that's quite bad for the flower, but it's okay because once we recut that stem and it goes back into water, it'll start drinking again and the stem will become quite firm. But just so that it's nice and pliable and flexible for me to use, I'll let that sit for a little bit longer and move on to the next pieces of material. So I've got these gorgeous pistachio anthuriums as well. So they've got that green with a very sort of peachy tone through the centre of them. So if you see that variety, it's called pistachio, and they're really lovely. So I'm feeding them through. Oops. That one's going to sit just right on the edge there, on a slight angle. there into the design. And we've got two more. Now you can see the central part of them there, that's called the spadix. Now we want to make sure that they're all going into the same direction. The reason for that is because I want the viewer's eye to be following the same direction rather than entering the design and leaving the design and entering the design. We want the viewer's eye to stay within and be directed. That one a little bit, just slightly more height. And then our third anthurium, slightly out further. Just a slight curve. Then a little bit of this gum I'm going to place into the centre, not a lot of it, so I don't want to overfill this design. And what I'm trimming out there is just a leaf that's been damaged, so something's had a feed from that. So I'm just removing it. Because these very minimal designs, everything's seen, everything's viewable. So we want to make sure we're only showing the best. Another little grouping of the gum leaves into the centre there. There we go. Now I'm going to start to add these glued ones to the outer edge. And if some of the glue's dried a little bit, which it hasn't, but if some of your glue's dried before you get to it, then don't worry, you can just add a little bit more. Now, in fact, I'm actually going to remove those ones from the centre, which is something you need to do as a florist or as a designer or artist at times. You can have a vision in your head of how you want something to be, and then sometimes it doesn't actually always work exactly to the way that you plan. So it's good to be flexible and make changes as you see them needing to be. So for me, I felt like I would have actually then gone and cluttered up that area too much and lost some of these lines and features, so I've taken it out. So don't be afraid to do that. Now I'm going to create a grouping of Singapore orchids. need to use some of the paper covered wire to attach them in place until the glue fully sticks. I've got my fingers covered in glue. If you want these to have longevity, if it's not just for a one-day event, then you can put water vials on these little Singapore orchids so that the heads will last a lot longer. So they can be fiddly but certainly fun. And now I'm going to add these gorgeous roses, lovely white roses. Two there, and they're going to be a central focal point. And so having that gum there would have just overtaken that area, but what I am going to do with some of that gum is finish it off underneath. Put that in there. And then my last tulip, I'm not actually sure that I need it now, but I'll add it into here. Happy with it there because it's throwing the eye out. And the two feathers. And that's the underneath part, so you can see what it's like underneath. Tie that off. So that's the very minimalist yet detailed bouquet. All right, hope you enjoy it.